What's going on, everyone? It's Near again. Here for you, some Call of Duty Black Ops 2 playing some Domination. This time on the map Firing Range. Well, it's actually what's it called, Studio, but it's Firing Range to me for guns from Black Ops. Welcome to this week's What If. Today we're gonna be discussing what if Pokemon actually existed, and it feels though I should probably have Pokemon gameplay in the video. I went through and I looked at Pokemon Ruby, I went back and looked at Pokemon Fire Red, and a little bit of PokeMMO, different various Pokemon playthroughs that I've done. And I decided not to use any of them, as Pokemon seems to really be a reading-driven game. You look at the gameplay, a lot of it is reading, a lot of it is talking. Of course, there's the battling aspect, but other than that, there's a lot of reading involved. And doing a sit-down commentary while all this text is being presented to you on the screen, it wouldn't work out that well. So we have a really bad Black Ops 2 gameplay up on the screen for you today. This gameplay, I joined in late, and I'm all by my lonesome. And you ever play this game solo? You never get good teammates. You'll see just how good my teammates are towards the end. Alright, so this week's episode of What If. What If's a series where we discuss different things that could happen, or have happened, or what if they weren't to happen. Anything at all, and how it would affect the world around us. One of the biggest things that people have been asking me to do for this series is what if Pokemon existed. Now, Pokemon is something that I was into. Still am. Hell, I got Pokemon X. I started playing it when it came out way back in the 90s, and my first thing was I had a teal Game Boy Color, and I would play that with my Pokemon Blue. And ever since then, after that, I got Silver, and I got Gold, and I got Ruby and Sapphire. I think I pretty much grew out of Pokemon for a bit after Ruby and Sapphire came out. Actually, after Ruby and Sapphire came Fire Red and Leaf Green, right? If I remember that right, by my Poke timeline correct. So that's a thing. I think after those came out is when I kind of lost interest in Pokemon. And now that I'm older, I'm like, yeah, Pokemon again. Just how these things go, I guess. So, what if Pokemon were real? So to me, there are two possible situations here in which Pokemon will be real. One, we completely break the space-time continuum and we just, go back in time, and Pokemon are a thing. They were, since the dawn of man, at the dawn of man, there were animals, and now at the dawn of man, there are animals and Pokemon as well. And the other one would be maybe some kind of genetic laboratory creating Pokemon evil gooey thing, right? That could be a thing too. For what we're going to start off here with, what if since the dawn of man, Pokemon were a thing. So this would affect the world. Talking about something that happened that long ago can affect so many things at once. All right, one of the things I think a lot of people don't recognize about Pokemon or think about Pokemon, because they're pocket monsters. It's a cute little, it's a TV show, it's a game where you just go ooh and ah. But Pokemon are animals, wild animals with ridiculously strong powers. All right, so you take a Charmander. It's essentially like a 3-foot tall lizard that can shoot fire out of his mouth. There is Squirtle. How big is Squirtle? 2 or 3 feet? I'm assuming they're all 2 or 3 feet, except Bulbasaur. I think he's about 2 feet. Something along those lines. But Charmander, right, is a lizard that shoots fire. Squirtle is a turtle that can shoot water out of its mouth. Right? And then there's Bulbasaur, who can summon vines from his bulb, or leaves for that matter, razor sharp leaves, and send them flying at you. What wild animal in the world can replicate something even closely similar to that? And we're talking about the smallest evolution of Pokemon here. If you were to take a Charizard is like a 6'7", I don't know the exact height, 600 something pounds, right? Big fucking fire dragon that flies around and breathes fire. I'm not even entirely positive the human race would live if Pokemon were around at the very beginning, at the conception of the contraception. Either way, of mankind, when man first came about. If Pokemon were there, I'm not entirely convinced that we would be alive, because these things are ridiculous. All right, have you ever seen a Rhyhorn? It's kind of like a rhino. Have you ever seen a Rhydon? Bit manlier than a rhino. A Tauros. I'm naming Generation 1 Pokemon here because that's basically, the generation of Pokemon that I know rather well. Have you seen a Tauros? Kind of like a bull, a little bit stronger. You think, the possibility of jellyfish are scary. What about a Tentacruel? a Tentacruel is like 6 feet tall or something ridiculous like that. How about a Gyarados? Things are pretty big. There are a lot of Pokemon, and what I don't think a lot of people understand is these Pokemon, like I said earlier, are animals. And it's not going to be like the anime show where they all eat Pokepuffs and berries. These things are going to eat each other and other things. A Gyarados is not going to live off algae. It's going to be eating the Tentacool. And maybe the Magikarp, which turn into Gyarados. Maybe it'll eat some Staryu. Maybe it will eat, I'm trying to think of some Goldeen. It probably feeds primarily on Goldeen and Seaking. That's probably what happens. That's probably what Gyarados will eat. And the same thing goes for any other Pokemon. Be it like a Charizard. Charizard probably loves him some Rattata. He probably eats the hell out of Eradicate too. That's how these things go. The Pokemon would be just like normal animals. Sure, there'd be herbivores. There'd be herbivores out there. I'd assume a lot of the grass types are probably herbivores that eat grass, maybe. I don't know. But every other kind, they're gonna just kind of eat each other. And that's a horrible thing. This isn't Generation 1, but it's close. Miltank is the cow Pokemon. And it's like popular from within the game. You get Moo Moo Milk, which counts as kind of a hyper potion. It restores a bunch of your health. We're sorry to break it, but we'd probably... humans would probably be eating Miltanks because they're cows. We'd probably be eating Tauros as well. That'd be like our Angus beef. Oh, this is awful. This is going in a dark direction very quickly. But yeah, as cool as it sounds of like Pokemon existing, that's so bad. Like it'd be just like animals and humans are now. Certain animals eat each other. We would eat certain animals, and that's if we survive, because these things have ridiculous powers. Let's talk about psychic Pokemon for a minute. These things can talk to us through their minds. They can levitate. They can make things move. The world would be a crazily different place if, from the dawn of man, we had Pokemon running around. Now, the other scenario would be if we had Pokemon show up as kind of like an experiment thing, like something like pretty much every single person in the world has wished for since Pokemon came out, that somehow scientists discovered a way to genetically create Pokemon and replicate them in a laboratory or something like that. Now, if Pokemon were to come via a laboratory, I think it'd be a different situation than if they were there from the dawn of man. If they came out right away, I think we collectively as a society would agree not to try and eat these things. And I think we could train these things or try to do something with them so that they don't eat each other. And in that case, it'd be kind of cool. But all like creepiness and all like going realistic with it and whether or not the Pokemon would eat each other, I think it'd be neat if Pokemon were real and if it were similar to the show. I don't know how a lot of them eat in the show. I don't know if I'd rather not think about that, because you see a Gyarados. You're not going to feed the damn thing berries. It lives in the ocean. It's going to eat other fish. But I think Pokemon would be kind of neat. What if every person in the world got a starter Pokemon? Whatever starter Pokemon they wanted from their generation. I also wonder how, you see it in the TV show, like Team Rocket, right? You see Team Rocket and how they're trying to take over the world and they're trying to capture the best Pokemon. How would terrorism be if Pokemon were a thing? Instead of bombs being placed, or instead of planes being hijacked or whatever, instead they decide to send like armies of like Charizards at us or something. I don't know. It just that'd be kind of weird. And imagine imagine, let's say, picture the house you live in right now, right? Be it house, apartment, trailer, anything. Your home right now, right? Look around, get a feel for its size. Now imagine you got a Bulbasaur as your starter Pokemon, if they were real, right? And that Bulbasaur over time came to love you and grew up and evolved. Now you have a Venusaur. Could you fit a Venusaur in your house? Anywhere? How would this work, right? You have to keep them in your little Pokeball. And either way, how would mankind come to the point in our society where we can create a ball that one, opens when we throw it, two, captures the soul of whatever is around it, and then goes inside of that Pokeball? That'd be... I don't know how we would go about doing such a thing. that that is kind of a modern marvel in itself. Is the idea in the concept of a Pokeball that captures Pokemon's souls and puts them in the little ball for you to keep around your waist. Pokemon's goofy. I think about it, but how about this? Why don't we all just give up on this lame thing that we call real life, and we all go live in the anime world? Because the anime Pokemon world sounds freaking awesome. I remember watching I think it was every Saturday a new episode of it came out on TV when I was younger. And I watched the season 1 of Pokemon, back Ash, Misty, and Brock. It was awesome. But I'm running over here. The gameplay here is just about finished with. I did all I could. I tried my best. But my teammates just wouldn't help with anything. There was really nothing I could do with that game. Nothing I could do. I tried, though, and I hope you guys all enjoyed this week's episode of What If. If you did, remember to leave a rating where you guys feel it deserves, and put in the comments suggestions for new episodes of What If. I'm not entirely positive if this series is going to stay around, especially once COD Ghost comes out. So, hope you guys all enjoyed this episode. Remember to leave a rating. Hope you guys all have a wonderful day.